My pleasure. I wanted to introduce Kerry Carmichael. We really appreciate you being here tonight and sharing more about the Refuge. Kerry's the executive director there, and I've just noticed on Facebook recently a lot of the neat things you guys have going on there, and I really wanted our council to learn more about them. I'm interested in learning more. You do much more than food, it looks like, as well. So, sorry. So yeah, I just want to, just share more about the Refuge and maybe how the Food Council can support in any way. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you. I am so glad that I get to be here, and was just honored to be a part of it. Learning more and more, it's kind of amazing to me, like all the different organizations that come together to meet a need. And the more and more that I hear about different organizations doing different things, it's amazing to me. I always say that Johnson County, like, we really do try our best to pull together and network together. So I'm glad to be here and share. So we are a faith-based nonprofit. I usually try to describe it when I'm just talking person to person as just an outreach community center. Our goals and our ambitions are that we want to network with the community to meet the needs of someone that don't know where to go. So our biggest ministry is our food pantry. So we are open on Tuesdays and Thursdays and available for anybody in Johnson County and just recently surrounding zip codes. That we're kind of on the north side of Johnson County, so we get a lot of people that are on those bordering zip codes. So we did open it back up. But where we normally get most of our food for our food pantry is a wide range of different organizations. So we do have churches that partner with us. So they may have like a passion for someone that's in need, but they don't have the manpower or the ability to have a full-blown food pantry. So we partner with them and provide an opportunity for their church to come alongside us and provide. What we've done is try to identify churches that can pick a food item, and then that way those church members will know what to pick up. So we'll have one church that'll take care of spaghetti and spaghetti sauce, and another church will take care of cereal, and another one that takes care of peanut butter and jelly. So it makes it easy for them to know, hey, we're the peanut butter and jelly church. So when I'm at the store and I have some margin in my budget, I can pick up a jar of peanut butter and throw it in their collection bin at the church. So it's been pretty effective. And then we drive around on Monday and pick up all our donations. So from that aspect, we get a lot of the non-perishable foods that are on a typical shelf that you would see at a grocery store or in a food pantry. And then we try to make sure that we have milk and cheese and protein and eggs and potatoes, vegetables. We do get a pretty good amount of snacks and water, and then whatever extra food that Midwest Food Bank is able to collect. So they've been a great partner, great resource for us since day one. And that's monthly. So we go and pick up a pretty good amount. And then everything else is either through Food Rescue. There are a couple different restaurants that have joined kind of what they believe in rescuing the food at the end of the day or the end of the week that can't be sold any longer. So we partner with them and have a couple different stores and restaurants that we get from for that. And then the markets and the farmers and the different places that do those gardens are amazing, because then we can add the fruits and vegetables on top of it. And those are normally more popular during the summer, but definitely an added bonus for us. So we have a budget to be able to supply whatever needs are not met through our collection, different partners, but then rely solely on churches and businesses and organizations that that help with that. So I'm going to share real quick. I'm going to try to share, see if you can see this. Are you able to see that? It's our brochure. Can you guys see that?
I see you.
Okay, so I'm not sure how to do that then. Let's look here. Yep. Okay, I'm not sure how to do that, but there's a brochure that we just got done and creating, and I would love to
Email
just
it to me. You could.
Pardon me?
You could try to email it to me if you want or something. I don't know if that's easier than.
Yeah, I can do that real quick. And then that way, if you guys need it in the future or you want it just to be able to see kind of our overall mission and overall goals to exist, or it's even like a great resource just to be able to have to pass out if you've learned of somebody else or another organization that, hey, why don't you partner with Refuge? Or it would be a benefit for us to help. Like I saw, you guys are helping fill a pantry. So if there's needs that you hear, we would love to be able to help with that. It's kind of cool how like Interchurch Food Pantry and Midwest and us and Senior Services, like we all really do work together. If there's a need for bread or there's a need for fruit or we all work together to make sure that when I have a person or a family that I'm able to meet their needs completely, not just with a can of green beans and corn. So yeah, and we have other ministries as well, but I know that you guys are more focused on the food need and the access to food. So I'd be glad to answer any questions that you guys have for me.
I'm curious more about, thank you, by the way. You guys do a ton. I was curious about some of the food rescue. Like, did those places come to you or did you approach them? How did that happen?
So that is an actual name of I guess it's really their own entity, is called Food Rescue. And that's what they do, is they kind of connect with businesses to find out, hey, would you want to do this? So Panera, Papa John's, and different restaurants kind of come and go. Bob Evans used to do it, Flying J used to do it. So it just kind of depends on what their focus is. And then Food Rescue calls us to say, hey, do you have the manpower to go pick this up? Depending on what time and what day that store is available.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
Kerry, what day of the week is your food pantry open?
So we have it Tuesday mornings.
Tuesday
and
morning.
then also Thursday evenings.
Thursday night, okay.
So Mondays are our big day that we drive around and pick up the donations. But then we just started a partnership with Kroger Distribution Center, and we go and pick up from them on Mondays and Thursdays. And then that way, whatever food is provided, we can get it out right away to the next food pantry.
Yeah. You mentioned protein. Do you get very much meat?
It usually ends up being one of those things that we buy.
You have to buy that,
yeah, there is a good amount that we get from Kroger, but it's not enough to be able to give every single family that comes in a protein item. So we will normally go and buy, 1 pound hamburger or 1 pound sausage or even lunch meat to be able to go with whatever item is available, other things. So like I always love to be able to partner. So if I've got canned chicken, to be able to give chicken helper for them to make a meal, or
Sure.
if I've got hamburger, put it with a hamburger helper. So it works out pretty good if we can at least get eggs and milk and an additional protein item. It's what we try to do.
Yeah, eggs seem to be pretty easy for anybody who's stocked with refrigeration, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but at the Impact Center, or at least the one that they have down in Greenwood, they have a lot of meat, but it's usually just one meat item, Sometimes it could be two, but then the person has to choose between pork, chicken, or beef.
Gotcha.
And it's that kind of stuff. Like it looks like they get some of it from Kroger and they just get some from wherever, where they'll get it and it's by the freeze by date and they'll get it frozen.
Yeah.
So, um,
Very
one of the things that, um, so fresh produce, have you been able to get fresh produce in the past? Like
very,
when it's in season, I mean.
yeah, it's not, we don't have anything that's scheduled. So it's not like I can say, oh, every Monday I'm going to get this or every Wednesday. But we have a couple different farmers or individuals that will call and say, hey, I've got an abundance of peppers. Can you pass them out? Or I've got
Okay.
a great amount of tomatoes. And we always say, yes, that's great. And then split it up for family.
Okay.
But nothing on a regular, like I know that I'm going to get this on this week kind of thing for produce.
It's difficult enough. I mean, we'd love to see more outlets, whether it's pantries or people purchasing. And for consistency, it's just hard to get enough stuff that's that fresh and that's that local.
Right.
So, our goal hopefully is, something we'd love to see is a lot more producers, but you got to get the buyers before you get to producers. And I think if we can get more people interested in local food and buying local food, then there'll be more producers and then there should be plenty to glean from there, you know?
Yeah.
And something I'd hope to see happen as well. And I've talked to some people and worked with some people, and it's ideas that we've also knocked around with the Food Council is, just trying to get, like we talked about doing a gardening program where we're promoting the idea of having a certain number of gardens. We're not doing the gardens, but just, or maybe we will, we don't know yet, but it's like, we know people that are doing community gardens, and there are some community gardens that want to grow and get their stuff into different pantries. And, that way we might see more of a consistent flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's the whole idea that the fresher the food is, the fresher the vegetables are, closer to home, the fresher, the more they, the sooner somebody eats them, the more nutrients they're getting out of them.
Sure.
I mean, we're all happy to get tomatoes in the wintertime from Mexico because that's the only place we can get, or California.
Right.
But when you can get them close to home, they're going to have more nutrition in them. Even they taste better. And that's another thing is, the better something tastes, which usually is an indication that it's also got higher amounts of nutrients in it, the more likely someone's going to be eating it, especially kids,
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you think most people are pretty apt to taking fresh food and whole food items like that and doing stuff with it versus the process? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking food pantries, any of them, for having boxed and canned product, but that is also more convenient, especially if somebody's stressed, they're out of work or whatever, they're stressed out. They don't even want to spend the time. But do you see that as a challenge, or do you think people are pretty open? Or
Most people are very, very receptive. And we always have that be one of those things when we're loading it in their car. We're like, hey, we got, some watermelon, or we've got some lettuce. Like this week, we had big bags that we'd gotten from Midwest that were salads. It's not necessarily fresh, but it was salads with dressing, and 99% of the people took it. So most of the time, people love to get fresh.
good.
Where the only time that I see is a struggle, like they don't know what to do with something, is some of the odder, couscous or some of those other protein supplement type foods. They just don't know how to cook it or what to do with it. So when we get something like that, we try to look up different healthy recipes and give as many of those products that we can to go with it to make something.
Okay.
Yeah, most people love it.
That's good. How many do you see a week? I mean, I'm sure it fluctuates, but
it does fluctuate. What was really interesting over the span of COVID was we had at the very beginning, like a good amount of increase in that immediate, and then it died off. Like we didn't have near, and then most pantries around were saying the same thing. Like, why aren't people coming? Like, we know they're not working. We know they're not bringing in the income, but they were getting more in food stamps and they were getting unemployment. And So the numbers kind of died down, still had a consistent amount. And it seems like here over the last even 2 or 3 weeks, it's picked back up a little bit. And I don't know if that's where we're kind of all holding our breath, like because of the increase in prices and the increase in gas, are more people going to need it than even during COVID? So we get normally, I would say, on a very busy pantry would be 40 families a week. And they can come one time a calendar month at this point. So we're looking at, 120-ish families a month.
Okay.
And we do try to provide a meal when they come as well to the pantry. So that's something new that we got with our new location a couple of years ago. We built a commercial kitchen. So we're able to have groups to come in and prepare a meal and cook it while we're there. So
Cool. I like that.
nice. Yeah.
So people are entitled one pickup a week, or how does that work?
So we've got it right now where it's one time a calendar month. So you come anytime you want in the month of March. If it's to where we get a phone call and we hear there's a specific situation, then we're never going to turn someone away if they need more food. But the amount of food that they're getting should last an average family 3 to 4 weeks. So we're either providing them more information about other pantries or other resources to be able to also meet if there are. And we've got kind of this category of larger family items. So the big, huge boxes of cereal or the big, huge cans of peanut butter to adjust it for the bigger families. But right now, that's the easiest way to do it, because then we use Charity Tracker, which is a product that most well, I shouldn't say most, are able to, excuse me, able to put in to be able to track how many families they're helping. So it just makes it easier to be able to see, oh, you were here in February and here it is February 28th. Do you want it to count for March, or, are you in a special situation where you need extra food?
Okay. So once a month, and then about 140 families are getting stuff. Okay.
Yep.
I am curious about other things that you all, I mean, do you have like a clothing thing
We
too,
used to
or
have
is
a
it?
clothing, yeah, we used to have a clothing ministry years ago, but we had to move into a smaller location that just could not handle it. So we now refer everybody to the Impact Center if they have clothing, and then do a case by case. So if I've got a family that comes in and I can see their kids don't have coats, we're going to make sure they get coats one way or the other,
Okay.
whether it's with another organization, or we go out and buy a coat, or so we meet with every family every time that they come in. So that gives us an opportunity to find out, hey, what's going on? Like, what, you obviously need food. You came here for a food pantry, but what else? Kind of what's the root of it, and what can we do to help you with that?
Okay. Yeah. Good. And it's located in the business park that's just off of Main Street in Emerson, right? I forget
Yes.
the name of that park.
Yeah, I'm not sure if so. We were renting there by Vala Vista. There was a business park there across from Oak and Barrel.
The
But
one across. Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, we just purchased a building and moved in, and we're kind of between Sam's and Cruise Car Wash and McDonald's there,
Okay.
Main and Chic.
So you enter in off of Emerson then?
You can enter either way, like there at Emerson, and it kind of winds around, and then it'd be like McDonald's would be on your right.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
look
Okay.
right, and we're on the left.
You're back in there. That's what I thought. Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right. That's convenient.
Yeah, it's worked out pretty good. We actually, every other location that we've been at has been Greenwood School Systems, and that being on the east side of Emerson, we're now Clark Pleasant. So a little bit of difference, but we're still all right there within Greenwood. So it's easy to get to us once they know.
Well, I know I'm not the only one with questions, but I have one more.
Okay.
And that is, what how do you forecast for the future? I mean, it's hard to tell and no one can predict the future, but do you try to get an idea, at least for the short term, how things are going to look, both in terms of what the need might be, as well as, what you're going to have available, that sort of thing? Or do you try to gauge that as much as you possibly can? And if so, like, where do you think, how do you think we're doing so far for 2022?
I think for what's really good is when we're talking with other organizations as far as what they're seeing as well as what we're seeing, to know we're kind of like all in the same situation and what trends we're seeing. United Way is a great resource with what they're hearing and what clients are calling for, what needs they have. I think for us, what we try to do is just prepare for the most need that could come in. So if one week I only have 10 families, but the next week I have 20, I'm going to be prepared that next pantry for 20 or 25 even. So that no matter what, when they come in, we've got enough food. And normally most pantries, they've got plenty right now as far as on the shelf. It's just making sure I've got 30 gallons of milk, ready to go out and that doesn't go bad. So I want to make sure that we're using good resources with what we've got. But really, it's just kind of seeing where the economy is right now and what we're hearing from all the different agencies, what they're seeing, what they're feeling, what they're sensing. It was so odd with COVID because every organization is like, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to get ready and we're going to have tons of people and we just kept waiting and waiting and waiting. But nobody knew at that point that there was going to be so much governmental assistance given. So everybody just kind of kept waiting. And I think we're kind of at that point right now, trying to figure out, like, with the economy and rising prices, we get a lot of phone calls from people wanting help with their bills and help with, housing. We never have any type of, Johnson County just doesn't have a homeless shelter. So when someone calls and, hey, I'm out on the street and I have nowhere to go, there's that avenue too that we've got to work through and figure out.
Okay.
Can't give them a ton of food if they don't have a refrigerator to put it in. So
True. Well, that's all I got for now. Come on, you guys. Somebody jump in here.
I have a question. Can you guys hear me?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm still on my phone and somehow I can't see everyone and be muted at the same time. So I wasn't sure if any of it was working, but so my question is, I have two actually. I know you mentioned that you have like churches and groups that'll partner with you and collect like one item. So my first question is that an ongoing thing? So is there like a church, let's say, that collects tuna and like they do that year round? And then my other question is, are there items that you're looking for groups to partner with?
Good questions. Yes, most of our partnering churches are ongoing. So every Monday I'm going to pick up whatever amount that they collected that weekend. There are a couple different churches or even businesses that we get throughout the year that are kind of one-offs, like, hey, we want to do something at Christmas is huge, end of the year is huge, where businesses do an extra like collection either from their employees or their customers or clients that are these one-offs, food drives or hygiene. We always try to provide hygiene and household items. And those are things that either we're buying or we're relying kind of those one-off collections. So toilet paper is always, we're always trying to collect toilet paper to be able to pass out toothpaste, toothbrushes, those kinds of things. So shelf-wise, food-wise, there are a couple different food items that we don't have designated. So when someone says, hey, here's $100, go buy what you need, we're going to go buy canned fruit or we're going to go buy canned pasta. So we've been pretty fortunate and very, very rarely ever have a situation where we're like, hey guys, we really need help. We're short on, whatever item, spaghetti sauce. But we're always looking for the fresh produce and the fresh meat. And like I said, normally those are things that we just go buy so that we have them to make sure. And then hygiene items. So if someone were to call me and say, hey, we want to do a collection next month, what do you want? What do you need? 99% of the time, if we're not short on a food item on our shelf, it's usually something, either hygiene or a cleaning product, so that we're well stocked for those.
Thank you.
Sure.
You mentioned the commercial kitchen, and one of the things we've been trying to add to our local food directory on our new website is like shared use kitchens. Is that something that you rent out for a fee to the public, or is that more for like internal use?
We have not done that. I'm not saying that we won't do it. We probably just, people don't know that we have it available. As far as like, if it's meeting a need, I'm probably not going to charge a fee, if that makes sense. If there's somebody or another organization that needs a place to do it, we're food prepped, we're the food safety. So as long as those protocols, somebody's trained, or we would have someone there to help them with that, then if there's a need, then we would be glad to help out with that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
I don't know much about what you're talking about, so but we would be open to doing that.
Cool. Thanks.
Kerry, I think it'd be things like, whether somebody is wanting to, start up a product, a commercial product, they've been doing it in their home, or maybe they want to transition from selling direct and at farmers markets to starting to get into production for, like distribution. For example, if I, let's just something simple, like I bought raw coffee beans and I roasted them, I could roast them at home, and I could sell them at a farmer's market, or I could sell them direct to my friends, but I couldn't sell them to a store to resell them.
Gotcha.
Or I couldn't put them in some kind of distribution. If I made a sauerkraut product at home, same kind of thing. So usually it's like any time it's going to go from your hands to an intermediary, then it needs to be produced or packaged or whatever in a commercial kitchen.
Yep.
So, which of course is, kind of costly for a lot of people that have small things like that. So I think if we have one we know of, but as there are more of those, and we know sometimes churches have them. I mean, and not just for commercial use either, but just the fact that, there might be an event or some other kind of thing that somebody wants to do, and you really can't do it, or the health department won't let you do it unless the food was prepared in a commercial kitchen.
Yep.
Technically, even at a farmer's market, you're not supposed to serve anything to anybody unless you can cook something, but like if you chopped vegetables there, that's a no-no. But if you chopped them in a commercial kitchen and then brought them. So yeah, sometimes when it's a public thing like that, there's restrictions, and a commercial kitchen is handy. Plus, it's just nice to have the facility for people.
Sure.
Whether they are required legally to do it that way or not. So, and I think what, I mean, I'm kind of brainstorming, but I've sort of thought some of this stuff through before. Partnering with somebody like the Refuge, and anybody who does food stuff like this for people, to teach them. And then we have a commercial kitchen. So somebody wants to, say, do a program on food and nutrition, or maybe even on cooking, or what to do with their eggplants, or what to do with their Jerusalem artichokes, or okra. One of my favorites is okra. But, then there's a place right there, and there's a ready audience, because you could advertise to those people that they could come on a, say, whatever, Thursday night, and we're going to show you how to do this or whatever. And, just having a kitchen for that kind of stuff is pretty ideal, obviously.
Yeah.
So, because you can make up samples, you just got a place to go back and make up your samples, or to do the actual demonstrations and teaching and stuff. So
yeah.
Sounds like you've done a little bit of stuff like that already. Like, as far as you said, at least you're trying to help people with recipes, that kind of thing, with the fresh food.
We learned a lot. at our other location, as far as like when the health board really started cracking down on these church dinners or church meals that just are kind of this crock pot, you bring this, you bring that. And it was very evident that if we ever want to get to the point where we serve a meal, we've got to have this commercial grade, the 3-bay sink, the hand washing. So when we moved into this facility and built it out the way that we wanted, that was a major thing that we wanted, so that we could be able to throw some chicken in the oven and serve it on a Thursday night. So yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
That's awesome. Does anybody else have any questions for Kerry?
Well, thank you guys for having me. I will go ahead and email you that flyer so that you'll have it, but then I can print some off too and get them to you once we have them out.
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.
We often like to ask people too, how can we help, you know, as a food
Yes.
council? Obviously, we'll promote, but maybe an event sometime in the future or something. Or if we do an event, we'll let you know. So you
Yeah,
can be
that'd
there.
be great. That'd be great. We do try to host like so many different types of classes, and I think we've used Purdue Extension for some of those even in years past. But we haven't been able to the last couple of years just with COVID and everything, but we're just now getting back into offering some of those for people that do want to come and learn, whether it's a budgeting class or it's, hey, how can I find, you know, economical food on a budget? So yeah, we love it.
Okay. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting or carry on with your evening, whatever works best for you. But we appreciate you joining tonight so much.
No, thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
Okay. Well, just a few updates kind of from my ends, I guess, real quick. For the April meeting, I've reached out to Siebes, I think that's how you pronounce it, Honey, as a speaker, and we're still trying to get in touch with the Field to Fork folks to have them come, or I think it'd be really awesome to have an in-person meeting and see their new place. Yeah. So that is in the works. The website, Faith Westrom, who joined last month, she's been joining here and there. She can't make it to some of the meetings, but she in her off time has been reaching out to some of the shared use kitchens, like the Greenwood one, Indy's Kitchen. There's one in Perry Township, just to see kind of what they offer and if we would have their permission to add to our sites. We've kind of been slowly doing that. I think it's just good to know where those exist for our residents to access. Sarah, do you have anything to add for those things?
Not specifically to that. I have other things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I guess sort of piggybacking off of she can't come to this one because of other meetings. I'm sure it's on your radar to chat about potentially changing our evenings to a different week, or we need to maybe change it to a different location. Did we ever come to a consensus on what we're going to do so that we can go back to maybe in person if we can't do the right technology at the extension office or the church?
Yeah, I got feedback from a few of you, and we can probably maybe put this out in other outlets too, but it seems like this Thursday evening is big with some other garden clubs. So that's why Faith has a conflict and maybe some others. So we wanted to see if there's maybe a different night of the week or a different Thursday that might work to switch it up if everybody's open to that. And then also the conflict, I tried to reserve the new Clark Pleasant branch for future meetings, and they're booked out on the Thursdays, as well as our extension office has a regular standing meeting as well. So open to feedback on that.
Didn't somebody suggest maybe going to Tuesdays? Was that one of your suggestions, Aaron?
I can't remember, but Tuesdays would work for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I would think if any other day, it would probably, Tuesday would be best. Who wants to do on a Monday, right?
Right. Or Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, or
Tues-
Friday.
I'm open to Tuesdays. Anybody else have any problems with that night?
No, that's a good night for me, but I could still do Thursdays if we need to. I had something that's been on Thursdays now for a while, but this has been on Thursdays like since we ever started, I
Mhm.
think. And we used to have our food committee meetings on Thursday too. I think we did pretty much. But yeah, it's always been a good night, but I don't know why. It seems like these days a lot more people are doing things on Thursdays.
Yeah, I think if all of those places are booked on Thursday nights, then if we switch nights, maybe other people will be available too. Maybe we'll get more people if we're not the night that everybody's having other meetings. But yeah, I'm good with Tuesdays. I think Mondays usually aren't great for me, and then the second Friday of the month is not good for me. Other than that, I'm somewhat flexible.
If we did Tuesdays, would we be like the third Tuesday of the month? And would we be able to go back to the location in Grace Church?
I can check with Amber there. Definitely we can't do Thursday there. They've got a lot of meetings going on too. So third Tuesday would work. I'm open for that.
Yeah, I don't know what the church schedule's like, but I do recall Thursdays being before COVID, Thursdays being a real busy meeting night. So yeah, Tuesdays might open up some more options for meeting locations, whether at the church or other places too. If all those places were booked on Thursday nights, maybe Tuesdays will have more luck.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I will look into that and propose that for our April meeting since we don't have the speaker set in stone. I think we have some flexibility with moving that and we'll see how it works.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, no problem.
I have one other thing if you guys don't have anything else.
I was just gonna just remind everybody that we're filling the we're filling the little free pantry next week, right?
Yeah.
I don't have my calendar in front of me. I was about to say that, and I thought, gosh, did we do it next month instead? But I think it's this month. But I think it's next week. So the little free pantry at the Franklin Library. And I know I could do it on. I think I should be able to do it on Wednesday evening. Would anybody be able to do like sometime Monday to check the pantry?
I could check it on Monday.
Okay, great. Thanks.
I was telling the folks in our office today that the past few times I've been there to pick up books and other things and drop off other food, it seems like the food is there and then it's gone. Like people are definitely using it a lot lately.
Okay. The other thing I was just going to briefly ask, I'm going to share a picture that's kind of hard to see, but I was thumbing through the latest festival country thing, and they had this page. If you guys can see, it says like markets. And if we're trying to get our directory on the website to be up to date, I was sort of like, ooh, do we have all these people in our directory? And I was like, oh man, we don't have Walker's eggs. I left them a message. Are they still operational? They did not get back to me.
No, they're not. They
I
haven't been
didn't
in a
think
while.
so. Red Barn Meats, same deal. I was like, I'm pretty sure they're not in business, but I did text Angela just to double check. She's like, no, we don't sell meat anymore.
Okay.
So unfortunately, the Festival Country book has some that are wrong or out of date or whatever. This Welch's Holiday Farm, I've never even heard of that. Same thing. I left them a message. Does anyone know anything about them?
Yeah, I've been there. It's like downtown Whiteland by Town Hall, and it's just a bunch of like little mini barns that people sell some stuff out of. But
Oh, okay.
um, it's that, yeah, the Welch's person is pretty regular there. So
So is that something we should add? Like, do they sell?
I think so. Yeah, they have meat, frozen meats and eggs and produce in the summer.
Okay.
And the Walkers, I don't know if it's the same person, but I've noticed Walker's Homestead is on Facebook. Have they switched maybe and doing more things like that? Because they've been selling like some jams and jellies and other things.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard that name, Walker's Homestead, but the store that was on Main Street, over by the gathering place, over by Community Church of Greenwood, they haven't had anything there for a couple of years. And then that barbecue grew and kind of took over the whole building. There was somebody else that was doing something in there. Then the barbecue kind of grew. I mean, I guess they did have the store there for a while. Maybe they have the store because the barbecue place moved out. So I mean, they weren't doing quite like they were doing when Caitlin was running it. Things kind of changed there for a while. So, I mean, they still own all that.
And Emily, feel free to pipe up here since you might be the most connected and know.
I was gonna pop in and just say, if in the sense of seeing that you said some of these probably are out of date, I am there tomorrow, so I can bring it up to Ken Koski, who's the executive director of Festival Country, and Shelby Miles, who's the marketing director, and just see if kind of share with them what Sarah, what you have said, and see if what their opinion would be, and if they would be willing to either change it because they could probably change it even on the website, even if the book is wrong.
I assume I was looking at the latest book. It was that one that's in our office, but who knows? I may have been looking at an old book.
Yeah. They just released the newest books probably a week ago or more.
Okay.
And I want to apologize. I failed to let Emily introduce herself earlier. She's our new communications person at the extension office, and she's doing a fabulous job. And we're really lucky to have her help us she's helped with the flyer that I showed you guys before for the Food Council.
Yeah. And she works at the Festival Country. Yeah.
I do. I'm one of the front desk receptionists at Festival Country on Fridays and Saturdays that I'm not at the extension office. So interesting.
Hey, it's a little ways away, but it's going to be here before we know it, and that's the county fair. Are we going to start conversations with, no, I don't remember her name, but she ran that building, the Farm Bureau building that we were in. Or are we going to be in that? Do we think we're going to be in that same building, or does anybody have any thoughts on that? Or, and do we want to try to do more than just have a table? Because they seemed kind of open to trying to make things a little bit more interactive with people.
Yeah, we do need to get that ironed out. How did that happen last year? Sarah, did you contact whoever was in that building and ask?
Remember?
I know.
Well, and Chris, you said she. I'm trying to think. Like usually it's David Harrell or Harold.
Well, yeah, but
unless it was Stephanie, but I thought they moved away.
I don't remember the last name. Her and her husband are also realtors, and they had a booth out on not on the Midway, but kind of back where a lot of the food stuff was at, near kind of in between there and most of the other buildings. And
yeah.
And
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, she came by and introduced herself, and later on I went out and saw them at their place out there. But and I have her card here somewhere, but it's been so long I can't remember her name now. So Were we there the year, not the year before, but the year before that? Wasn't there
No.
another year we were out there?
Like with a booth?
Yes, just somewhere at the fair with a table or booth.
No.
This was our first year, last year?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we should definitely do it again. Be nice to be in a building